This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Brett, did you make the 30-year high school reunion? And if you did, were there fights?
I did not. You know, us baseball guys, when they schedule these things, they don't take us into consideration.
That's right. That's actually very well said. I missed all of the high school reunions when I worked in minor league baseball. I made my 25th reunion. That was like 6 years into doing Razorback games. So that's why I left minor league baseball, so I could start making all the reunions.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. You got a chance to see a minor league ballpark yesterday, didn't you?
I did. My son and I are on a 2-day cross-country journey for his MLB internship in the Appy League. So we stopped last night to see the Travelers and in Little Rock, and we've already seen the Ducks at the Peabody and whatnot, and heading towards Nashville and Knoxville. So we're getting our little stops in baseball and otherwise on this journey.
The Appy League. Where is he working? What is he doing?
All right, so he's a data coordinator, and the MLB took over that league. So he is with the Bristol State Liners team, but they're actually playing in Greenville, where the Astros used to have their rookie-level team. And the season starts in a few days, and away they go for a 2-month campaign.
So if you're doing data, that means you're heavy into the we have to use the word analytics with this. It can't just be data. Yeah, I think it's actually written into the contract is that you have to use the word analytics.
Yeah, probably, right? I mean, it's the whole thing. It's the TrackMan, the Rapsodos, and all this stuff that Arkansas's coaches do an amazing job at. And I guess with MLB taking it over, there's opportunities for others. So we'll see. It might be his path, but I've been there the last couple of years to work the All-Star game of the Appy League, and it's kind of a fun little league, couple of months in the hills of Tennessee and Virginia and West Virginia and whatnot. So it should be quite an experience.
Now, is that a dream league? That used to be where players would get drafted and spend maybe their first couple of months, or guys that are in their second year and they're trying to fight out of rookie ball, but it's not rookie ball anymore. What is this a dream league?
Well, it's similar. It's a college summer league. Kendall Diggs played in it a couple of years ago with Kingsport, and it's a lot of the teams that used to be, Kingsport used to be the Mets with Doc Gooden and Strawberry. Johnson City used to be the Cardinals. Danville, I think, used to be maybe the Braves, or Bristol used to be the Pirates. So a lot of these former rookie ball teams are now a college summer league. So it's a lot of guys after their first, maybe sometimes their second year, and there's a few guys that are still playing in regionals that won't be here for opening day, but they'll be here soon enough, I'm sure.
Well, we had the Dave Van Horn presser earlier today, Brett, and there's even more intrigue now because he said he wasn't announcing the starting pitcher for tomorrow until later tonight, but Hagen Smith was on the stage with him. So my guess has been from the start is that Hagen would pitch on Saturday, and it would be either Gage Wood or Mason Molina tomorrow. And that's still what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking, too. I mean, I just think it makes way too much sense to put Hagen on Saturdays, and most teams kind of do that. I think if you were a 2 or a 3 seed, I think you'd almost have to roll out your ace. But if you're the 1 seed and you're playing a 4 seed and you're at home, you save your guy. You save your Hagen for game 2. I don't think Arkansas would lose a handful of games in this regional, but you could lose one. And if you would lose one, it might be that Saturday game. And I think if that's the case, you want your best guy. You want Hagen. But how you manipulate around that, Phil, I think is still the question mark, as you mentioned, with Tiger, the concerns and whatnot. And when do you go with Molina? Do you throw him out there tomorrow? Do you even save him for a Sunday game when you're trying to finish things off if all goes well in games 1 and 2? That wouldn't surprise me either.
You've seen some of the, I guess it's websites that have the equations that figure this kind of thing out. And I don't like using the term easy because I don't think any of this is easy, but just based off of some of these predictions and people that have been right on this before, the going idea is that the Fayetteville Regional is one of the less challenging regionals for the host team. And I wonder if you agree with that.
Well, I did right away when those pairings came out, because this has probably been a couple of weeks ago, and maybe you follow them like I do as far as the projections with D1 baseball. I was thinking that it would be a Big 12 team as a 2 seed, and maybe that might beat Texas until they got hot. maybe that would be in Oklahoma State or whatnot. And certainly those are more formidable, you would think, than La Tech. And Lane Burroughs runs a good program, and we've seen him before. And they're always a candidate to come into Baum-Walker and win a game out of 3. Now, could they win 2 out of 3? I think that's tough. So, if Arkansas gets La Tech on a Saturday night and they can take care of business, they're certainly in a pretty good spot to win, and preferably in 3 rather than 4 games or whatnot. But it just feels like it's a little more comfortable pairing. And if that's the case, Phil, so be it, because last year getting TCU, a red-hot TCU team, it did not feel like a favorable matchup or regional, and this year just has a little different flavor to it.
Is there an SEC team that's hosting that you think could be in danger? Like, I was looking maybe Georgia, but then I look at the teams that are in their field, and I don't think it'll happen there. I think Georgia gets out of Foley Field, and truthfully, I don't think any of the SEC hosts will lose their home regional. I could see all 5 of them making it through, really.
Well, quite honestly, I was looking at the teams that are 2 seeds from the SEC that are going on the road and who might have the best chance of winning. I mean, I'd hate to see LSU rolling in or South Carolina coming into my ballpark as a 2 seed, because it wouldn't surprise me in the least to see LSU win with Jump and Holman, a couple of pitchers that they can run out there, and still a formidable offense, or South Carolina. We've seen enough of them this year. You certainly have with that road trip and whatnot in the postseason. So I would think those are 2 SEC schools that would also have a very good chance of advancing. And I don't know where it lines up, but if, Mississippi State, for example, won in Virginia, you're looking at multiple SEC super regionals possibly in a week from now.
Yeah, Mississippi State probably has I think they have the most settled top 2 pitchers, I think, when you're looking at the SEC right now. I'd even put those 2 starting pitchers, Steven and Saint, maybe ahead of the guys starting for Tennessee. For Arkansas, you trust Hagen Smith. Got to get a second starter that you feel you can trust. Mason Molina's looked good in relief. Do you think it's an idea of taking that mentality to the mound as a starter? Because I can't see him not being a starter right now.
I would agree, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. To me, Mason, and I'm sure you've talked to him a little bit, is a fun guy to talk to, and he's very analytical. And I've got a feeling that he spends a lot of time when he's out there for a 5 or 6 inning start thinking about, can I establish my secondary pitchers? Do I want to save my off-speed for the second time through the lineup and whatnot? And he's even mentioned overthinking things a bit. Well, it felt like when he went to the bullpen, he just let it fly, because you can't be concerned about the second time you're facing a team's lineup when you got to get through it the first time. You've got to be a little more aggressive and maybe pitch more like a reliever than a starter. I would just love to see him take that same thought process and that same mentality into a start, and not concern himself as much with trying to set up certain pitches as much as just attack and try and get guys out. But they need him, I think, in that rotation. And then beyond that, there's probably another guy who's going to have to start a game somewhere that hasn't started a lot. And I don't know if that's Gage Wood or that's somebody else that's going to get thrown into the mix somewhere along the lines that has been a reliever before. So having said all that, I think Mason is a key piece to having success in the regional. And I just want to see him let it hang out. Obviously, he was a very good pitcher in a tough pitchers league and ballpark at Texas Tech. And what we've seen lately has been much more like, I think, what we anticipated seeing most of the year than what it was like in the middle of the season.
They need somebody in the middle of the lineup to be driving in runs too. I think we focused quite a bit on who do you want batting leadoff? Diggs has been batting leadoff quite a bit. I think one of the reasons that they might have done that is because he hadn't been driving in runs in the middle of the lineup and just trying to find another spot that maybe works for him, and it hadn't necessarily worked at the top of the lineup either. Whomever's in the middle of the lineup, 3 through 6, you need not just one. I think you feel like you need a couple of guys to come through. Just a big hit. Like, just think of what a couple of big hits in the first or second inning, RBI base hits on Friday, would do for the tension that I can already feel even here 24 hours and 30 minutes before first pitch.
I couldn't agree more on all of that, because you're right. We focus a lot on the length of the lineup and guys providing punch that maybe aren't your regulars. You just need your good hitters to perform well in regionals. And oftentimes that's your middle of the lineup guys. But you mentioned tension, Phil. That's the term I use. Baum-Walker has a tremendous home field advantage because other teams get sped up, they get a little bit nervous. But when Arkansas falls behind, it becomes a tension convention because you can feel it. There's a murmur through the crowd. There's a quiet that comes about the stadium where people start to fear running out of innings or trailing, and I think it permeates down to the team. And whether you felt it last year for TCU or felt it at times in that super regional against the NC State, a lead changes everything. It gives Dave a chance to kind of allocate his pitching with Matt Hobbs how they want to do it. There's more of a concern about shortening the game than it is coming back. It allows the fans to become a tremendous asset and not just the 11,000 seat tension convention. So I think just some runs early against some mid-major teams would really kind of change the feeling or the course of an entire weekend or regional.
Tension convention, I like that. I might borrow that a little bit. And
feel free.
Well, it's like the idea too that you hear so often, and people might get sick of hearing it sometimes from Dave or whomever. If offense is contagious, well, then breaking the tension early, I think, goes a long way to maybe getting everybody sick on run scoring. So that'd be really big. Have you seen about this Jorge Lopez and his ejection from the Mets Dodgers game yesterday? I don't know if you saw it, but he gets thrown out of the game by the third base umpire for arguing a check swing. And as he's walking off the field with his manager next to him, he untucks his jersey and then he throws his glove over the net into the crowd, and they DFA'd him later on in the night. I mean, it's quite a way to get yourself fired. I saw a pitcher. Who didn't expect that he was going to pitch a game because he was the closer, and it was like a 6 or 7 run lead. He had gone to the clubhouse, actually to the intern apartment at Dickey Stevens Park, where there's a kegerator. He had downed a couple of beers during the game because he was convinced he wasn't going to pitch. He ended up getting the ball in the 9th inning in a non-save situation. Gave up 3 runs, and this is one of the craziest things I've seen a guy do. And all it was him walking off the mound towards the manager as he's coming out to take him out of the game. And, I mean, he walked off the mound before the skipper got there, tossed him the ball in the air. I'd never seen anything like that. That's like Lopez throwing the glove over the net. Have you seen anything like that in your time as a play-by-play guy in baseball? I'm
sure I have. I'm trying to rack my brain. I think the crazy thing, though, about Lopez yesterday, Phil, was when the media asked him about it, he said, "I'm pitching for one of the worst teams in baseball, and I'll be back if they want me to." And they decided they didn't want him to. They DFA'd him right after those comments. So I suppose when you call out your employer and you throw a fit, you're not going to be long for the major league. So it was a classic case of how to melt down and ruin a career, maybe.
Well, and then leaning into it even a little bit more. It's like another thing he said was, "I just don't give a bleep." Okay. All right. Well, you got 3. There are 3 letters that go along with "I just don't give a bleep." DFA.
And it used to be you could throw something into the crowd and just have it be just a spur-of-the-moment thing. Now you've got to think about it because you've got to launch that over the screen or the netting. I mean, you've got to kind of get some oomph behind it to get a glove or anything over the screen near the dugout. So he got in a workout in all factors, I guess.
I'd have been more impressed if he had done the Rob Dibble and thrown the ball into the center field seats. Though, remember, didn't Dibble hit somebody in the head?
Yeah. He hit a teacher. Yeah, I think he might have got sued out of all that. But he was a nasty boy. He can at least keep his job. Lopez, not so much.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.